We're holding page Chofhei Amud Aleph, Daf Chofhei Amud Aleph. Really Chof Daled Amud Beis on the bottom of the Mishnah. But yeah, that's the way they do Chofhei. Okay.
All those people on Zoom, there's no soup for the chacham this week.
Yeah, today was one of those days. Okay. Says the Mishnah on Chof Daled Amud Beis on the bottom. The Mishnah says a halacha that if it's Chol hamoed and someone passes away during Chol hamoed, you shouldn't be doing chidiyah. You shouldn't rip your garments. And you shouldn't do chalitza. You shouldn't reveal your shoulder. And you also don't do the meal that is usually done. The first meal that after you go to the cemetery. The first meal is something it says that the mourner, should not eat from his own food. He should eat from someone feeds him. So it's the meal with the egg and the bagel, the round thing. So when it comes to if someone passes on Chol hamoed and you bury the dead on Chol hamoed, still you shouldn't be doing kliyah. You shouldn't be doing chalitza. You shouldn't rip your garments. You shouldn't reveal your shoulder, and you shouldn't do the meal. But that is only everyone else, and the Mishnah Gemara is going to say who that is talking about. The only people that are allowed to rip your garments, and are allowed to do the meal and should reveal their shoulder, that is only the very close relatives of the person that passed away. But when it comes to giving the meal, because it's Chol hamoed and we push off the entire 7 days of mourning till after Yontiv, you don't do the meal on a bed that is turned over. That's what they used to do in the old days. But the bed is skufa. The bed is upright in its regular position, and the mourners can sit on the bed upright and don't have to turn over the bed. So again, the halacha basically is saying an interesting halacha that when it is Chol hamoed and someone passes away, only the very close relative, children, spouse, brothers, sisters, or parents would sit shiva. They would be the ones that do kliyah, rent their garments, and eat the meal. Okay, what is this coming to exclude? Because who else should be sitting shiva? It's only the relatives that sit shiva. Who else sits shiva? So before we even get into it, there's a halacha that says two things the Gemara is going to bring up. Three things. The Gemara is going to bring up a chacham that passed away. We already had it. That Talmud chacham passed away. Everyone has to sit. Everyone has to do kliyah and sit. Not sit shiva, but everyone has to do all some of these things. There's something called an adam kosher, a righteous person. It's not a Talmud chacham, someone that learned or taught Torah, but it's someone that lived a righteous life. He only made mitzvahs. He always was good with people. So that is a kosher. So it says also that you should mourn for him. And the third thing is someone that was inside a room while the person passed away. If someone passed away, if someone else is in a room that is not a relative, everyone inside the room needs to do kliyah. That's what it says. Today we don't really do that. I mean, some circles I think do that. That someone during the passing they do kliyah, but most of the times in Chabad at least we don't do kliyah until the actual kavula. Even if you're in the room, we don't do rip our garments. So that's fact the Gemara say. So this Mishnah is technically saying a general rule that no one should do kliyah, only relatives. So the Gemara chacham. Also, if a chacham passes away, should you not do kliyah? Should you be like everyone else and not do kliyah because you're not a relative? But Tani will not chacham shemeis. Chacham passed away. A Talmud chacham, someone that taught Torah, learned Torah, and taught Torah. Everyone is considered his relatives. So everyone is his relatives. And everyone is like his relative. What does that mean? Everyone has to rip their garments for the chacham that passed away. And they have to reveal the shoulder. And everyone eats the meal, the sudas havla that they give after the burial. So we see from here that the Talmud chacham technically should also be doing kliyah, even if it's Chol hamoed. So in the Mishnah it says that only relatives do it, no one else. And for the Gemara, so that's what kind of person is this Mishnah talking about? The lav chacham. We're not talking about a chacham. We're talking about a regular person, and that's what the Mishnah says. A regular person, you don't have to do clear chol hamoed. You don't do clear chol hamoed only if it's a relative. So the Gemara, another question. When you say there's another person that you have to do clear, what is the Mishnah? If it's a righteous person, the chiyuv mechayev the mikra, you have to do clear. The Tani, because learned in Avadaisa, an interesting Avadaisa. Why does a person have his children pass away when they are young? So in case, if it ever happens that someone will pass away, someone righteous person will pass away, you should remember that the kid passed away, and now it should evoke in you some emotional response that he should cry. So the Gemara asks right away, so you're going to, little kids are going to die, so in the future, if someone passes away, you're going to cry. So they're holding the kids hostage, technically. They're taking the person, taking his kids away for you to give you a memory that when it happens, you should cry. It doesn't make sense. For the Gemara, that in order that person should cry, we're taking a guarantee, we're taking a mashkin from the person and saying, here, I'm taking away your children, so that if someone passes away, you will cry. That doesn't make sense. No, the person passed away. The Adam Kasha passed away. And you really have to cry. When an Adam Kasha passes away, you should cry. You should mourn. Nevertheless, and you didn't. Therefore, the Eibushat does midah connected midah. It punishes you. You didn't cry. I'm going to give you something to cry for. Because if someone does mourn and cry of a person that passed away, they forgive him all his avedas. Because of the honor that he made the person that passed away, that he cried and he mourned. And if he didn't, then obviously something is wrong with you. So the Eibusha says, I'm going to take away your young kids, so you all know next time don't do that. But it's a punishment. It's not a future, not holding them hostage for something that happen in the future, but it's a punishment. So we see that a Adam Kasha, even if the Adam Kasha passes away on Chol hamoed, technically you should mourn, you should cry after his passing. So in the Mishnah here that it says that the only people that do kliya, the only people that rent their garments is if it's a close relative, it doesn't make sense. An Adam Kasha also should do kliya. Yes, and for the Gemara, we're holding about 8 lines from the top here. We look again for the Gemara. The law of Adam Kasha, the Mishnah, so 10 lines from the top. The law of Adam Kasha, it's actually, with the Mishnah again, it's not talking about a Adam Kasha, a person that we know that is righteous. It's a regular person. So a regular person, yes, if it's not a relative, you don't do clear. For the Gemara, the third case, someone that's there by Yitzias Neshama, someone that's there when that's passing. For the Gemara, if a person is there when the person passes away, the other person passes away, you have to do clear. The Tana said, someone stands by the dead at the moment when the neshama leaves the body. You have to do clear. Why? What is this like? Let's say for Torah like a sefer Torah that was burned. That he has to be clear. When as soon as you see a sefer Torah burned, you have to do clear. We're talking to a person, no, a regular person off the street. He hears a good friend of his passed away. He's next door, but it's not inside that room. And the person that passed away is not a Talmud Chacham and is not a Adam Kashan. It's a regular person. So we're telling you, even if you feel like, it hurts you so much, you want to do clear, it's Chol hamoed, you can't do clear, but the relatives should do clear. That's what the Mishnah is saying. Now there's a few side notes over here. Trying to remember the side notes. I believe on Mashah because this is starting to be Agadata. What is the connection with a? Here actually it's in Mashah. The Mashah says, what's the connection with the Sefer Torah and Neshama? We say that the person that passes away is like a Sefer Torah. What's the connection? It's Adam is a Tzasada. We know that Adam, a person is like a tree. But what's the connection with the Sefer Torah? What's the connection with the Sefer Torah that gets burned? So says the Mashah in the back here. On I believe it's on page Ches in most Gemaras, the Mashah in the back. Okay, and it's like 20 pages after the thing.
Sweet. Let go of a few more pages.
Yeah, because it's two Gemaras together over there. And
Keep on going.
right, yeah, right here you're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit it in a moment. You're gonna hit it in a moment.
Small pages.
A little further.
Small, yeah.
Oh, this is?
Okay, so here the Mashal in general, I forgot. I think I heard one from Struli Glika. Was his expression? I heard from someone. I don't remember what the full expression was, but if you learn a Gemara that's Agarata, it's stories, which we're gonna get to, and you learn it without Mashal, it's like eating a soup that's not spiced well. It doesn't taste well. You can't learn Agarata without learning Mashal. So the Mashal explains like this. The second Mashal here, Lamaza Daim L'Sefer Torah. So Rashi in our Gemara says the Torah is called Neil, Ki Neil Mitzvah, V'Torah. Yeah, the pasuk is Neil Mitzvah. So Rashi says Torah is called Neil, and the Neshama is called Neil. So the Mashal is going to ask, the pasuk says Neil Mitzvah, and Torah is oil. This is a candle, and this is a oil, the light. It's not the nail, and the Neshama is called Neil. We know. But Rashi is saying that just like the neshama passes away, it's like the Torah gets burned. But the Mashal doesn't like that because, again, the pasuk says that the mitzvah is called candle and not the Torah. The Torah is called oil, light, and the neshama is like the mitzvah. So it explains the Mashal. Pirush Rashi. Rashi says the second. It's in the Chidush Agodas Daf Chafei with Aleph. The second one Lamaza Daim L'Sefer Torah. Pirush Rashi. The Torah is called nail, a candle. Shenema, because it says in pasuk, Neil Mitzvah, but that the nail is the mitzvah, the candle is considered like a mitzvah, and the Torah is like oil, like the light. And Rashi says, and the Sham is also called nail. Atkan the Shayla until this is what Rashi says, he's bringing down Rashi. Mika the Maisi HaTorah Gufah, the pasuk that he brings, the Torah is not called nail, it's not called a candle. The Torah is called oil, the light. About Tzaloima, so the Mashal explains, he wants to say that Doimel Sefer Torah, the Neshama is just like a Sefer Torah. Why? Hainu ha-mitzvahs sheksuvim b'Sefer Torah. It's like the mitzvahs that are written inside a Sefer Torah. Sha'aldei ha-neshama, because the Neshama is inside a body, otherwise the body is a piece of clay, or nothing, it's flesh. When the Neshama goes inside the body becomes alive. So now the body can do the mitzvahs. Because through the neshama, the person with his limbs can do the mitzvahs. Okay. Now, when the oisis, the letters of the Torah are burned, and the letters go away, the Sefer Torah is burned, the letters go away, the neshama of the Torah goes away. Explain the neshama of the Torah goes away. If that's the case, so yeah, if it's just like a Sefer Torah is burned, the neshama goes out of a body and just it leaves the klaf, just the parchment that is written on. Same thing also, a person that passes away, at that moment the neshama leaves the body, it leaves only the flesh, the bones and the flesh down here, and now this thing cannot do any mitzvahs. So it's nothing. So we are likened the neshama leaving the body to a Sefer Torah that is burned, that now there's only ashes, or it's nothing left, there's no mitzvahs left in there. And therefore, when a person sees another person pass away, if he's in the same room, he should tear his garment and should look clear. Now a bunch of stories. When Avsafa passed away, so Avsafa was an hamoed, and he traveled a lot. He constantly traveled over the globe, Bavel, Tzisrael, whatever he was, and he did not dwell only in one city and had his talmidim. He didn't have his shul that had his talmidim and his people that surrounded him. He was traveling a lot. So when he passed away, that in a city, even in his city, let's say, the chacham in the city did not do clear because they felt they said and we never learned directly from him. My teacher, I have to do clear, I have to rent the garments from my teacher, but not from someone that just traveled. Yeah, he said many beautiful things, but it wasn't my teacher. Abai told him, Mitanya, chacham shemeis. We learned already in the page before that when a chacham passes away, even if he wasn't your teacher, if he wasn't your rav, he wasn't your teacher, but he was a chacham, you have to do clear. Not only that, he was such a Talmud Chacham, his I wouldn't so call a downfall, but the fact that he was traveling, it didn't create this talmidim around it. It actually had an effect in the other way. He traveled so much that his sayings were spread all over the world, and everywhere you turned, you heard something that the Psafra said. So every day his sayings were mentioned in Beis Medrash. So even if he didn't teach you, he's still a Talmid Chacham. He still taught you something, and therefore you should make clear. So now they said, okay, he passed away already. We missed our opportunity to do clear. Abai told them, no. Tanina, we learned Chacham Kolzman she'oiskim behesped chayav v'nichloya. As long as he's still not buried and they're still eulogizing him, you can go and you can do clear. You can rent your garment. So he thought, let's do rip clear right now. Abai didn't let down and said, no. If you want to do it properly. Tani, we learned in the Blaise Chacham kvoid bespedai. When is it proper? The proper honor for a Chacham to be eulogized, to that you rip clear, you do rent your garments for his death. It's dafka when it's in connection with the eulogy with the hesped. So basically, sit down, make a hesped, eulogize the safna, and then everyone is going to be emotional about it, and you're going to rip clear, and that's the way it's supposed to do it. That's one story. Kinach nafshel Ravuna, when Ravuna passed away. Now Ravuna was a big Talmid Chacham. There were a few Ravunas in the time of the Gemara. One of them was an hamoed, one of them was a Tana, and even in the hamoedim, in the later times, there were two separate ones. One of them was a teacher of the Chizda, one of them was not. One was anyway. So now I'm saying all this because later on we're going to see it ties in like that. Kinach nafshel Ravuna, when Ravuna passed away. Savon, his Talmidim had a thought. They thought they were thought, let's put a Sefer Torah on his deathbed. He passed away, he's laying on his bed. Let's put a Torah on it. Why the Torah? Because they wanted to hint that Kiyam Zeh, Mashikosa Bazeh, that Rav Huna was one that did everything that is written in the Torah.
Is it going to make him a Tameh?
So, Divrei Torah is not Matamim, but that's actually something that they speak about, but it's not Matamim. So he told them, his Talmud told his friends, something that in his lifetime he would never do. He would never lay on his bed with the Sefer Torah. Should you do it now when he's dead? And here is again the same idea. You're going to put a Sefer Torah on his deathbed when he cannot do any mitzvahs. It's almost like Loi Galosh. It's laughing at him. The Amar of Tachlifta, because of Tachlifta said, the boy in the mesa, he wanted to sit down on his bed or lay down on his bed. And you see there's a Sefer Torah on his bed. What did he do? He put down a barrel or something that was able to put the Sefer Torah on top. And he put the Sefer Torah on top. And then he went to lay down on his bed. So he would not lay down in his bed in his lifetime with the Sefer Torah. So for sure, if when he passed away, he did not. He would not appreciate that. Al Mukasava, so we see that the Ravuna holds oscillation al Gabamitish Sefer Torah Munachalai, not to sit on the bed, that the Sefer Torah is laying on it. Okay, that's he passed away, so he's laying in his bed. They didn't put the Sefer Torah, but now you have a nafik purayim ibava. The bed was too wide; it was wider than the door. It couldn't take the bed out of the room. So they thought, l'shot shula dergag, and let's open up a window or the roof, and let's hoist him down.
He was so big?
No, his bed was a large bed.
Why does it?
Or was he big? I don't know.
Okay.
Could be. Amalu of Chizda, the Talmud of Chizda said, Hagamirna, we learned minay from Ahun himself. Chacham kvoid Pesach. The covet is to go through the door. It's not coveting to go through a window. Going through a window is like it's a construction job. It's not covet. It's not the honor of a Talmud Chacham passed away.
It didn't fit through his door, but it fit through a window.
The roof.
Yeah. The windows sometimes are bigger than the doors. Sometimes most not in America, but in most places you have big, nice, wide windows or the roof, like it says Gaga here. So he said, some of the guy wanted to lower him down. We learned chacham quite Pesach. Said, okay, if so, let's bring a smaller bed in, switch him from his bed to a smaller bed, and take him out through the door. We learned from Huna himself. Chacham kavoida b'mitorashana. The honor is to take him out in the bed that he passed away in. How do we know that a chacham is covered is going to be in his first bed? Because we see there was a story in Shmuel Aleph and the Shmuel Beis. In Shmuel Aleph there was a fight with the Pelishtim, and the Yidden unfortunately lost that war, and the Pelishtim captured the Adin. And the Pelishtim didn't know what to do. They tried to move the Adin, and a lot of things happened. I didn't go through the entire story again, but there was the Getchkas fell down, and then people died. Whatever. There was a whole long story, and they didn't know what to do. They asked someone. Someone said, "Make a new wagon, and get new oxen there that never ever worked in a field, and make it, harness the oxen to the wagon and put the Adin on top, and that's how you will take it to whatever place they went to at that time." And later on, much later, David HaMelech came, and he won the war with the Pelishtim, and he said, now I'm going to go bring the other Kodesh back. So he figured that it's not coveted to remove the Adon from where it's on right now. Let me just take those same wagon with the same thing and turn around and take them back like that. And even though he made a mistake, he should have carried it by on the shoulder, and he he put it back on the oxen. The pasuk says there, Vayakiva esaroin elakim, and they lay down the Adon elakim al egla chadasha on the new wagon, and it uses the same language as the first time when the Pelishtim built that egla, which tells us that's the same. It's not a new wagon; it's the same newer wagon that the Pelishtim built. And basically, from here we see that why did David HaMelech do it? Why would he make such a mistake? Because he felt it's not coveted to move a holy thing. So a chacham that passes away, don't move his body any extra. He passed away in the bed, take out the bed, and then you take him to the Beis HaKvodos, and that's it. Don't move him from bed to bed. So what did he do? So what did Chizah tell him to do? Break the door open wider, and that's how they went out and they buried him. Okay. So they came to Beis HaKvodos and they're doing the eulogy. Rabba opened up. He said he was a worthy Rabbeinu of Huna that he should have Luach HaKodesh, that the Shechina, the Eibusha, should rest upon him. That he lived in Bavel, and Bavel is Chutzlah, and in Chutzlah there's no Shechina cannot rest on someone. Okay, so that's what the Abba said. So Rav Chizda was his Talmud of Rav Huna. Rav Chizda's son was also a smart guy. Most of Rav Nachman of Chizda, Rav Nachman right away asked the question, and it's written somewhere that when it comes to a eulogy is not a teaching moment where you start having arguments with someone. Let the guy eulogize. If you have any problems with his eulogy, you'll go over later on in Chol and say, look, he said Azan as a pasuk, this doesn't make sense. He said such a dvatah, this makes sense, but not in Beis HaKvodos. You're going to start a whole argument.
Like if I miss a violating.
Yeah, or the mitzvah drasha or something. So Maser Nachman of Chizda, he didn't wait. On right there, was the other son of Chanan. He said, "As a pasuk, Hoya dva Hashem leCheskel ben Buzi HaKohen be'eretz Kasdim." That the Eibishter revealed himself. The Shechina came down to Yecheskel ben Buzi HaKohen, where not in Yisrael, be'eretz Kasdim in Bavel. So yes, but a pasuk right away that says that what you're saying doesn't make sense. You're saying that the only reason that Huna didn't have Luach HaKodesh is because he lived in Bavel. Cheskel lived in Bavel and he had Luach HaKodesh. So it's not the Bavel wasn't at fault. Something else is at fault, but not Bavel. So his father of Chizah turned around, took out his sandal, and that was the gif. I said, took out his sandal and threw it at him. He took off his sandal and smacked him. I told you, didn't I tell you, don't bother the world with your words? Don't bother. You ask questions, good. Ask later, not now. I told you already. Apparently, he knew before the Levi that his son is going to say something. He says, "You can keep quiet."
I guess he did have Ruach HaKodesh.
Or he knew his son very well. Okay, so he told him, "Didn't I tell you, lo titat alma?" So and then quietly, then he turned to him and says, "My hoya." Where the pasuk says hoya dvar Hashem l'cheskel m'buzi, that the Eibusha revealed him the cheskel. Hoya shehoya kval. This is not a nevuah that happened in Bavel. This is because he had a nevuah already before. But Avuna lived in Bavel, so that's why he could not have a nevuah. So now they didn't bury the Avuna in Bavel, they actually schlepped him up to Eretz Yisrael. So here's the story how it happened. Kaskul Hasam, when they came to Eretz Yisrael, Amalei Rav Ami, Rav Asi, they went and told Rav Ami and Rav Asi that what? Rav Huna is coming. So they thought he's coming like to visit them. Ami, they said, I remember when we traveled to Bavel, Kavina Lahasam, when we were in Bavel, we could not raise our head in front of him. We were so embarrassed by his wisdom, his greatness, so we couldn't raise our head. So therefore, Hashta Sin Hacha, saying he came to visit us, and we are going to him. I mean, he's coming, he's running after us. So it's just going to play. Let's go visit him. Let's. Abulay said, I told him, no. Adoinabo, his casket is coming. So now they understood that he passed away. Rav Ami Rav Asi Nafuk. So it says Rav Ami Rav Asi went to greet the Odin, the body. Rav Ila, Rav Chanin Nafuk did not go out to greet the body. Some people say there wasn't a them. Rav Ila Nafuk, Rav Chanin Le Nafuk. The Gemara said, the Nafuk, my time. Those that did go to greet Rav Huna as he came in his casket, what's the reason they went out? And the ones that didn't go out, what's their reason? Everyone had a reason why they did or didn't. And the reason wasn't like, well, we don't have time, it's too much. No, they had a reason, they had a good reasoning. The Tanya, it says in the Braisa, that a casket that goes from place to place, you stand in the lines. You say that back in the day you used to say Abdacha, as we had in the past already, with the Chumavelim and Makim Nachem Eschem, or whatever you would say, that you be controlled, or whatever you say by Nichem Avelim, they will do it as the Adon passes through the cities. So that's the reason why they did go out and greet the Avuna.
That was the bed.
That's the reason why they did go out. The bed, yeah, the bed. When
It wasn't the Adon, it was a bed.
Yeah.
No, because we don't. When we learn, we take the bed out with the body.
Yeah. And
there's no Aron yet. There's no Aron.
No, I think that afterwards they put him in a casket as a travel by ship.
Okay.
But in any case, those people that went out, they went out because they knew the halacha that you have to be menachem avol and you have to do the brichas avelim. 3 lines in the fat lines, wider lines at the bottom. So, and the Gemara says, so those that did not go out, sorry, second line, the loy nafek my time, those that did not go out, what's their reasoning? The Tanya, it says in the Braisa, the opposite of Braisa, that brings the exact opposite, that if an Adon passes by a city, don't go out and don't greet it and don't say any blessings, don't say any nichem avelim, don't console anyone. Kashin adodi, it's a Braisa, the steal of one against the other. And for the mother kasha, it's actually not kasha. It's not a still. It's not a contradiction. Kan shilda kiemes. Here, but we know that his what's it called? His
body form, his
not
spine,
a body.
bones.
The skeleton. Skeleton is still fully there. Kan b'shein shilgam is the skeleton is not there. So if the skeleton is not there, it's just basically you bring up a box of dirt of earth. Because you dug up the body, you dug up whatever you thought you digging up. So then you know to Nichem Avelim. But here, when you know that the skeleton is fully there, then you do Nichem Avelim. So Rav Huna says Rav Huna Shildaki Emesav. Rav Huna was a tzaddik, so his skeleton was fully there, his body was fully there. So now they're enough for the reason why those guys didn't go out. They were not sure, or no one told them that he was full, that his body was full complete, and therefore didn't go out. So now he's not so slow. Where should we bury him? There's enough place, but where is he worthy of being buried next to whom? Which they used to bury them in caves. Where should we put him to rest? So they said Rav Huna was one that spread out toilet by the Yidden. Rav Chia also is known that he would walk around and spread the toilet by the Yidden. So let's put him in his cave. So now they ask the question: who is going to have the strength or who is not going to be afraid to go into the cave of the Tanoim and bury Rav Huna there? Man Ma'ila, who is going to be able to bring him in? Rav Chaga said, "I know Ma'ila, I'm going to bring him up there." Why? The Ukmisel Talmudoyim, because I was his Talmud. When I was 18 years old, It says in the Meforshim that he was 18 years old, and even though by 18 you should be married already, he did not get married and he continued learning, and still he did not see a keli. He did not see anything at night, and so basically he said, I learned in front of him, mashmale kamei, and I served him. V'yadi, and I know a story about him. V'yadi be'uvda, and I know some story about him. What was the story? Yoyim echad is apicha le'letzur the tefillin. One day, his tefillin, the famous thing which says that we have to be very careful with tefillin, that the tzua, that the thing shouldn't be turned over from the white side to the white side toward the black side. It should always be the black side outside. And one day it happened that Rav Huna, it turned over. And he said 40 days in Tainus. And that's why, that's basically why he said that I am worthy of bringing him in.
And he knew that intimate story.
Yeah. So I'm a very close Talmud. I stayed with him long. And also I saw that story. So the Mashal explains what's the connection with fasting 40 days of... what's the 40 days? So the Mashal explains that tefillin are a crown. We wear it as a crown. It's called the Kesser Torah, the crown of the Torah. The Torah was given 40 days. It took the Eibishter, Moshe Rabbeinu, the Eibishter went 40 days up and by the mountain. So that's why he fasted 40 days, because he felt he did something to be disrespectful to the crown of the Torah. That's why he said he fasted 40 days. In any case, so he took the casket, the Adam, and he went inside the cave. Now, as he walked inside the cave, so the Bchia was laying there, but besides the Bchia, there were two others there. Havagani Yehuda Miyamine de Avua. Yehuda, the son of Bchia, was on the right side of Bchia. V'Chizkiya Mismoilan on the left side. Yehuda Lechizkiya. So the guy goes inside and he hears the voices. The neshamas are talking. Yehuda told Chizkiya, "Kumiduchte, get up from your place. Lav oidachava. It's not a derech. It's not a proper. The koim Rav Huna, that Rav Huna is here and we're laying down. So get up." I was learning this and I was with someone somewhere. I told him, imagine today you go to the cemetery and you come back and they say, "Look, these two guys are having a conversation." You would figure out which hospital to take them, which psych unit is a better psych unit. But those were real tzaddikim.
My question is, how does one guy carry an Aron all the way up a mountain into a cave or by himself?
Yeah.
It wasn't all the way up to the moon.
I mean, how do you... Pretty heavy.
So what happened here?
It was just the body and a small light bulb.
So what happened here? So they bahada the koim, as when the Chizkiya and Yehuda got up, kom bahadei amuda the nula, a fire, a pole of fire, a pillar of fire rose up with them. So basically, Chazia of Chaga saw the pillar of fire. Ivis, he got scared. Zakfel Adaina, he raised the casket upright, and he ran out. V'nafak, and he went out. V'nafak, and he went outside. So now, basically, they were greeting him, and the pillar of fire came out from their keva, and he raised the casket up, and he was able to get out. So the Gemara asks, if there was a pillar of fire, why didn't the pillar of fire consume him? Why didn't it burn him? Why did he not get punished? Why didn't the fire consume him? Rav Huna was such a tzaddik that he protected him from being burned. But technically, he should have been burned. Taka should have been burned because he went into a cave of such tzaddikim. And here, Rav Huna saved him and he left him there. Left him standing there. We don't know what happened at the end. Now, this was Rav Huna.
Can you just say that again?
His feet are tired.
As Rav Yehuda told Chizkiya, let's get up because it's not honorable that we are laying down. Rav Huna is coming in with a casket.
Right now the fire part.
So they stood up. The neshamas or the bodies got up, and as they got up, a pillar of fire came out, and the pillar of fire almost consumed the Rav Chaga. So he raised Rav Huna's bed, Rav Huna's casket upright, and he ran out. And he ran out
to get between him and the fire.
Yeah, and he ran out. So they say the reason why he didn't get burned is because the casket was protecting him. Don't think about it too much. But this was a story, and this is they were tzaddikim. They
He
were
had fire retardant beams.
they were big tzaddikim,
I
and
thought you said something that it was on fire because who allowed him to take the body
No,
into
so-
the cave of the
so as you see the story goes, they asked who is gonna bring him in. What's the
Right,
question?
so there was-
Just to bring him in. They knew going into a cave of such tzaddikim comes at risk, comes with a huge risk. It's not any person can go in there. There has to be someone that's worthy of going into the resting place of such
So the
tzaddikim.
question is, how else would he have got in there if it wasn't for this guy?
So
Don't bury him there.
bury him somewhere else. Yeah, bury
Bury him elsewhere.
Bury him somewhere else. So he said, I am worthy of it because I kept myself pure and I kept myself clean and I served the Rav Huna for so many years in purity, and I had no stories, intimate stories about him. So let me go. So he went in and he almost got punished. The only reason he didn't get punished is because Rav Huna protected him. So now his Talmud passed away. So Rav Chizda was the one that told everyone that our teacher Rav Huna, would not appreciate if he would put a Sefer Torah on the bed. So now Rav Chizda himself passed away. Genoch Nasher Rav Chizda passed away. Savod leisuvi Sefer Torah apurah. They again also thought, let's put a Sefer Torah on a bed, and for the same reason. Rav Chizda was a Talmud Chacham. He kept whatever was written in the Torah, and to show in honor, it was an honor to tell everyone, look, this guy kept what was written in this Torah. So Savod leisuvi Sefer Torah on his bed. Yitzchak said, something that his teacher would not consider doing, and we will go now and do it. And it's even more. He is the one that told us about this thing, so now we're going to go and do it. So they said they ripped clear for the Chizda, and they said, okay, we ripped clear, and we know the halacha is by ripping clear for a file, you're not supposed to fix it up. Someone else you could take after 30 days. So they thought, let's not sew back our clothing. So the loy mishlal kare, that whatever we ripped clear, whatever we rent our garments, we shouldn't sew it back together. Yitzchak said, chacham kivin shechzir paneim achor hamita shalom. A chacham, you don't have to wait as long. As soon as the body leaves and gets buried, or you turn around and go away from the Beis HaKvadas, you ripped clear because it was Talmud Chacham, but at the moment you turn around and go away, you can go and sew back your garment. Just a point out of it. So, Kenoch Nafshe the Rabbi, Kenoch Nafshe Rabbi Huna and Rabbi Nuna. Rabbi Bar Huna and Rabbi Nuna were friends, and they passed away at close time together, and they took their bodies to be buried in that stall. Askinu lahos, and they brought them up to the stall. So now they're walking together. The whole time as they're walking, they were on a camel, they were on two camels, and the camels were walking together. When it came to a narrow bridge, it was a problem. Kimoto agisha, they came to a very narrow bridge. Kamu gamlo, the camels stopped walking, and they didn't want to cross. Why didn't they want to cross? Because they gave what?
Who goes first?
Who goes first? Who's on first? So that there was an Arab, what's it called, panhandler or whatever was there. He asked them, what's going on? Why they're not going? The Rabbanon that walked with the bodies, they told him, they're giving each other the honor. They said that he should go first. He should go first. This guy says, you go first. You go first. So this Arab said, here we're missing a few lines. If you look on the Goetz Tzviyunim, you have to add here, this also comes from Rashi Ksav Yoshan. So it says, Ibedina, if we're talking according to correct judgment, to the law, technically, is it's very simple. Gavra bar Gavra leil, a son, a mighty person, the son of a mighty person, goes before a mighty person. If someone has Yichus, Geza, if someone has Yichus, if he's a son of someone, he would go before the what's it called? Leil Beresh. So he should go first.
I think there's a Lashon somewhere about the Frierdiker Rebbe. He's the only Rebbe that was the son and the grandson.
Of yeah, because the Machtzedek was whatever. Shabbos also the son of a grandson. but not a ulik. Anyways, but 1 second, we'll get to the Gezer stuff in a moment. So what did he say? The Rabbi Avuna Leil Bereisha, that Rabbi Avuna was a person, a great person himself, and he was also Bad Avuna, was a son of Avuna. He had also Yichus, he had Gezer. Leil Bereisha, he should go first. So what happened? Chol Gamle the Rabbi Avuna, he went first, but because this Muslim, this Arab, spoke up and he didn't do the right thing, he was chutzpahdik, nato kache, his veshine, his cheeks and his teeth fell in the utaya of this Muslim. Now came to the in the moment came to the now we're doing the hesped, the eulogy. Pasach aleo Yenuka, a little child, stood up, a smart person, he was a genius. He stood up and said, what did he say? Geza yeshishim olam bavel, an elderly person with Geza that had history, that had roots. He came up from Bavel. Ve'ima, and with him came who? Rav Avnuna. What was Rav Avnuna? Sefer Mechames, a book of Mechames, a wise person that was able to fight and taida and argue. And what happened when they both came up? Both two Talmid Chacham came up from Bavel. Koas v'kipoid. Koas v'kipoid. The pasuk says Koas v'kipoid is an animal, an owl, and a what's the animal that has these prickly stuff on his back? Porcupine, yeah, hedgehog, yeah. V'kipoid. They usually ruin the trees, the roots, and the owl is also an animal that is what's it called, a wild animal. So basically, that is a simon for a klala, a simon for a curse. So both of them passing away is a double curse. They both of them died, and we see the destruction haba mishina that comes up from Bavel. Sadly, we see two great people are coming up from Bavel being buried at Sol. That's a destruction of Bavel. The two great Talmid Chacham passed away, and they're coming to be buried at Sol. What I'm Kotzef on the Lama, the Eibishter was upset in his world, the Chamasim and the Foshes, and he took away from the world, took away great souls. V'samach bohem, but now that the Eibishter has them, he is happy, like a new bride. The Eibishter is called Doicha V'adav, is the one that rides. He's very happy. Sas v'sameach, he's joyous. Bevo'il of nefesh noki v'tzadik, that a clean, pure soul and a tzaddik came to him. That's the hesped that the guy gave. So now we have this whole thing. We're going to go again to the Mashal. Go back to the Mashal. Very interesting Mashal. So back to the Mashal here on Daf Ches. So we said like this. We said that they came, they were crossing a bridge, and the bridge was narrow, and he had two camels, and he couldn't cross the bridge because the two camels were they knew not to cross because there were two great people in their caskets that were above them. So the Arab went and told him, whoever has Yichus, whoever has a background, a history, a family history, he's more important. And he got punished. Says the Mashah. Chidush Agodas Daf Chafei Amud Beis, the first one over here on the bottom. Amadino the Rabbi Avuna, by if it would be just if the Rabbi Avuna is the one that goes first because he has Yichus, he has family history. Ayin Pirish Masha Kosafta Menachas. Check what I wrote in Menachas. Menachas, it brings a story like this, that the Rav Pleda was standing in Chol, and they came and told him that you have a visitor outside. Who is the visitor? They told him like the visitor is like this. It's Rav Ezra. But Ezra was the great grandson of Rav Tulus, which is the 10th generation of Ezra Soifel. So the Pleda turns to them and says, what's this whole introduction? Just say, you have a visitor there. Very simple. If he's a Talmid Chacham, his Torah would let him go in, let him come in. If he's a Talmid Chacham and has Yichus, well, come in. But if he just has Yichus, if he doesn't have just history, does not know how to learn, let fire consume him. That's what the Pleda said. It's basically, Geza means nothing unless you learn something. Yichus means nothing unless you do something with it. So what is saying about Ibad Avon? If he has history, he has a father. Ubad Udin, and he's someone that knows how to learn. Yoi, let him come inside. Ibad Udin, if he only knows how to learn, he doesn't have any Yichus, any family history, but he knows how to learn. Yoi, he can come in. If Ibad Avon, V'loi Ba'uyon, Isha Tichlei, but if he does not have any, he doesn't know how to learn, but he has Yichus, and he comes from a lineage of people. let a fire consume him, or the mashal over there brings another version that his mother should have miscarried him. In any case, so the mashal here explains the same thing in our Gemara. The Abba bar Avuna hoy mefusam. Avuna was known. He was a son of Avuna. Bar Avon. He had a history. His father was a great person. He had lineage. Uba'uin. He was a learned person. Shahaya Aviv. He had a father. Leloish beBavel. His father was also, he was the Nasi, was the Deish Galusa in Bavel. He was a famous person. Avamnuna was known, Meforshim Ba'un. It was known that he was a Talmud Chacham, but we did not find any history in any Yichus for Avamnuna. Valkein, now, Kimoto Agisha, when it came to this narrow bridge, they didn't care about Yichus. They gave each other covet. Why? Because of their Torah. Even when they were in their death, they each honored their friend because of the Torah Shalom, not because of their Yichus, because of the Torah they learned. The Ba'uyan who learning Torah, knowing how to learn Torah is the main thing. So this is why they stopped. This is why they didn't cross. Now what goes through his head? We don't look. We look at Yichus. This Arab panhandler, this Arab panhandler, he said, Kidinahu. It's actually by law, by the correct judgment would be, let's saref to add Sheraba Avuna Gamba Avon. Avuna has something more than Hamnuna. What he has Yichus. By saying that, Zilzil will cover the Torah Shel Avnuna. He made the Torah learning of Avnuna as nothing, and he embarrassed it. He Venena Shel Kach, and he was punished. And now, as soon as that happened, the Yenuka, the Yenuka says it's a separate story. He made a hesped, but the Mashok connects it. It says the reason why he started off in saying Geza Yishishim, he says yes, Taki has Geza, he has Yichus, but that's not everything. Pasach Yenuka, Pasach Mashakosav Ataya, Alpi Mashakosav Ataya, what the Arab said. The Ravuna should go first. What did he say? Geza Yishishim Al Bavel. An older person with roots, that has roots, Geza has roots, went up from Shu Avuna. Ve'imai, who is with him, Sefer Mechames. Shu Avamnuna, that's Avamnuna. V'al because of this whole story that they would give honor to each other, now we know the punishment that the people in Bavel had. The Ishmaelim came and they checked out what's going on. So many people are walking with these two camels that are carrying two caskets on their back. So v'nidmu lika'os v'kipa, these Ishmaelim were like owls and like porcupines, or shem oifas tmeim, the Talmudic oifas. Anyways, what he's basically finishing saying that through this we found out the greatness of those two people, and that's why it's such a punishment for Bavel that they lost such great people in one time. But the ikar is, it's not about having a father, a great father. It's about learning Torah.
Meaning the Chavra from Bavel should have